Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back. We're going to be reading the last two chapters in part 5. We're talking about the heart in Living Untethered by Michael Singer. So let's go ahead and get started. I think I said the last three chapters, so 23 through 25. We're going to be reading those to complete this part of the book, which is part 5 of 8. All right. So chapter 23 is titled The Dance of Energy. There is a very important interaction between the energy flow and your blockages. The energy is trying to come up, but it can't because you stored these unfinished patterns from the past. It is these past impressions that determine your preferences in life. If someone manages to stimulate a negative past impression, you will not like them. If they manage to stimulate a positive past impression, it may be love at first sight. It is very dangerous to live this way. You are not in charge of your life. Your past impressions are. If you work on yourself, there will come a time when you fully understand your heart. When you have let go of enough blocked energy patterns, you will begin to experience so much energy flowing inside that you will understand firsthand what the Bible means by, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. John 7:38 from the New King James Version. There will be a constant upward flow of energy coursing through your entire system. When you get really open, it will flow out various energy centers, like your heart, the point between your eyebrows, and the palm of your hand. And I lost my place. Here we go. You will become a being of light, a being of energy. That is when the energy is free to flow, when it is not obstructed by these personal blockages. We're going to discuss that in later chapters, but mentioning it now allows you to understand why your heart opens and closes in certain situations. The reason should be obvious by now. The state of your heart is dependent upon what samskaras are being activated at any given time. Whenever you shove an obstacle into an energy flow, it will create a disturbance in the flow. It is these disturbances that you experience as emotions. Let's say you are very open and feeling a clean flow of love through your heart. Then your lover said something you took offense to and you resisted. Your heart will no longer feel love. Instead, it will feel anger, fear, or jealousy. These disturbing energy patterns are the direct result of you shoving a blockage into your heart's energy flow. All these emotions are the same energy manifesting differently depending upon the nature of the blockage being hit. It is interesting that we choose to give names to these disturbances. Just look at all the names we give to our different emotions. So far, we've discussed the energy flow hitting just one blockage at a time. The more blockages there are, the more complicated the disturbances will become. Eventually, the disturbances will start to hit each other and create very complex patterns of energy. This is what it's like to live inside ourselves. This is why emotions are so powerful and often complex. You can have a love-hate relationship with something because you have patterns inside that can generate different energy flows at different times. Whatever samskara is most activated at any given time will determine what is affecting your energy flow the most. We are very complex creatures to predict, and this is why. Unfortunately, things can get even worse. At some point, enough samskaras can be shoved into the heart so that you become totally blocked, tired, and completely uninspired. Your naturally uplifting energy flow stops supporting you. This is the power of these samskaras. They totally run our lives. Remember that your energy is always trying to flow. The only reason it can't is because it's blocked. Like in a dammed up river, the flow tries to find a way around the blockages. To the extent that some energy can navigate around a blockage, you will feel some strength. But that energy flow is conditioned by its ability to continue flowing in that way. If something happens that stimulates yet another stored blockage, the energy flow will become affected accordingly. This is why people have so many moods and why they cannot be trusted to remain steady in their behavior. By the time the energy flow manages to find a narrow pathway around all that stuff we have stored inside, we become very narrow-minded about how the world needs to be to support that flow. Our entire personality, with its very particular likes and dislikes, is simply the expression of the pathway the energy managed to find. Our ability to feel love, joy, and inspiration is determined by how much energy makes it through the blockages. Now you understand why your heart is so sensitive. Depending upon how well the energy can navigate around the stored blockages, your heart will open or close. Pay attention to this, otherwise you're going to let the opening and closing of your heart run your life. If you're talking to someone and they start discussing a subject that you have blockages about, your heart may start to close. If your reaction is to walk away and avoid that person in the future, the blockages are running your life. Similarly, if someone starts talking to you about a subject that opens you up, all of a sudden they're your best buddy and you want to hang out with them more. Letting this opening and closing of your heart run your life is certainly not spiritual. You're not being true to yourself. You're being true to your blockages. That's all your psyche is. Your psyche is the net result of all your blockages and how the energy manages to flow through them. As the fluctuations in the energy flow cause your heart to change, your thoughts will change. It's actually very sad because you will end up lost in there. Those stored blockages will dominate your life, and that is no way to live. You won't go anywhere meaningful. You'll just go around in circles. There is no actual purpose, intent, or direction to such a life, except to minimize the suffering and get a periodic rush. These samskaras are from the past. They are things that happened to you in your past that you were not able to handle. Now they are determining your present, and they will determine your future if you're not careful. We could not be discussing anything more important. These stored patterns are going to determine where you go, what inspires you, who you marry, and whether you get divorced. You're not determining your path through life. They are. Until you get very centered in witness consciousness, you are going to follow your thoughts and emotions, and they are determined by your samskaras. Surely you've been there. All that has to happen is for the energy patterns flowing through the heart to shift, and everything changes. Next thing you know, you're leaving your spouse or your job. These stored patterns represent the lowest part of your being. They are the result of you not being mature enough or evolved enough to handle the passing events in your life. These patterns become stuck in you and are now determining your energy flow and your entire perception of life. Understanding the effects of these blockages helps explain why it's so difficult to make personal decisions. What you're trying to see is how one choice or the other will make you feel. Should I marry this person, or should I wait until I establish my career? You're using these thoughts to see how the different choices will shift the flow of your energy through your blockages. The problem is you have so many conflicting blockages stored in there that what to do is not clear. And of course it's not clear. You're consulting your inner mess and expecting a clear response. All the while, you are noticing that these thoughts and emotions keep shifting inside. The important question is not what to do about this. It is, who is noticing all this? The same consciousness is aware of this entire process going on inside. There may be many samskaras in there, but there are not many of you in there. There is only one consciousness watching all these competing patterns and identifying with them. When you become one integrated seer, the single witness watching all these different things pass by inside, you are centered. You are clear, you are free. But when you don't sit in the seat of witness and your sense of being is split amongst all these diverse inner patterns, things become very confusing. It's almost as though each path the energy takes through your field of samskaras creates a slightly different personality. You're one person around this friend and you're another person around someone else. You can even have a totally different inner dialogue going on when you're around different people. Look at what happens when you go to your childhood home or a high school reunion. The surroundings stimulate past samskaras, and you begin to think and feel the way you used to in that environment. Amazingly, these situations you feel completely at home with, these different versions of yourself. Amazingly, in these situations, you feel completely at home with these different versions of yourself. People in this state struggle to find themselves. They feel they must choose which of these personalities is really them. The answer is really quite clear. None of them are you. Please don't pick one of them and let that choice determine your life. None of your thoughts are more you than any other thought. You are the one who is experiencing the thoughts. There's not a single thing about those shifting energy patterns that is you. It is certainly difficult knowing what to do when all that inner commotion going on. The only lasting solution is to realize that it's the same you noticing all of it. You are the one who is aware that your thoughts and emotions are shifting. It happens to us all the time. Just relax and be the one who notices. Be the one who sees the many. This is the path to self-realization. Chapter 24, the cause of moods and emotions. Emotions are generated when your core energy flow hits a blockage. To understand this, imagine walking up to a stream that's flowing with no impediments. There are no rocks or other obstacles in the stream bed. Under these conditions, the water in the stream is going to flow in a very even and undisturbed manner. There will be no eddies, sprays, or intersecting currents. This clear stream is analogous to your core energy flow, the Shakti. Both of these flows are perfectly pure and constantly flowing when in their natural state. What if we put a rock into the pure flow of the stream? All of a sudden, there are noticeable disturbances. There are eddies, split currents, and a spray where the flow hits the rock. Just that one rock caused a disturbance in the force. The same thing happens if we put blockages in the flow of Shakti. These blockages, these samskaras, create obstacles to the Shakti flow, and as such, create disturbances in the flow. These inner ripples, sprays, and eddies, combined with the release of the disturbed energy stored within the samskaras, are what we call emotions. An emotion is caused by the Shakti hitting the blockages in your heart and shooting out to release the blocked energies. This creates enough disturbance to your normal flow that your attention gets drawn to these disturbed energies. Emotions are a release of blocked energy. This goes for both negative and positive emotions. Remember that samskaras got stored in there for a reason. You couldn't handle the experience that happened. These blockages may have been there for years, even decades, and when something hits them, they become activated and start to release their pent-up energy. By definition, the resultant emotions and thoughts will be very personal to you. After all, you're the one who held the blockage inside to begin with. You walk into a kitchen, smell a smell, and your entire state changes because it smells like what your mother used to cook. Just a smell, and suddenly a powerful change will come over you. Your heart will get softer or harder depending on how you interacted with your mother. Most of the time, you have no idea what is happening. You just buy into the shift of your emotions and behave accordingly. You can now understand where your moods come from. When you reach a state of clarity, there are no moods. There is just the beauty of the clean energy flow feeding through you day and night. Feeding you day and night. In later chapters, we're going to discuss what it's like to get clean, to get clear, to live in a state where you are always high. Until you reach that state, it's just one mood after another as the energy shifts due to these stored patterns. From a yogic point of view, here's what happens on a daily basis in our lives. The energy flow comes up, and as it approaches the heart, it can do one of three things. First, if the energy is totally blocked by the samskaras while trying to go into the heart, you won't feel your heart. A lot of people don't feel their heart very much. They are so used to focusing on their mind that they don't notice the shifts in the heart until those shifts are too strong to ignore. Emotions are messy and much too sensitive, so people suppress them. They want to be analytical, not emotional. No one told these people that if they bothered to do the work necessary to clean out the heart, the increased energy flow coming into the mind would result in more inspiration, more creativity, and more intuitive brilliance. A second thing can happen with energy coming into the heart. It can make it in and begin hitting the blockages stored there. This tends to make you moody and more sensitive to what's going on around you. Every once in a while, however, things will line up just right and your heart will get quiet. Somebody is in front of you and somehow the way they look, the way they talk, or something else about them stimulates and rearranges your samskaras just right. Her hair looks like my sister's hair and I really got along with my sister. Look at those glasses. They're just like the ones my favorite actress wore in my favorite movie of all time. This is definitely my kind of person. The next thing you know, you're saying out loud, people told me nice things about you and I was really excited to meet you. Now that I see you, it's way beyond anything I expected. So it begins, love at first sight. The words are right, the hair is right, the glasses are right. Everything is opening you. You don't have to do anything, it's all happening by itself. The stimuli coming in through your senses are rearranging the samskaras just right to create an opening for the energy to come up. As the energy comes up into the heart, it has the opportunity to flow out and connect with what caused it to open. Now we're talking about a very personal and sensitive subject. Have you ever felt the energy start to flow out of your heart? Have you ever felt your heart connect with another person? It's as if they were an energy flow tying two hearts together. People who are in love can just sit together, not even talking, while that beautiful connected flow is happening. It's almost as if nothing in this world is as beautiful as that sensation of energy pouring out through the heart and connecting with someone. From a yogic point of view, what you are experiencing is Shakti pouring out of the fourth energy center, the heart chakra, and that the heart chakra of your energy system. Though this heart center is really beautiful, it is actually not so high since there are 7 such chakras that control your inner energy flow. The yogi understands that if all the energy goes out through the heart center, it will not have the power to reach the higher centers. What you will come to realize is that the chakras are like a T-pipe fitting. And then there's a little picture here of a T-pipe. Just a little visual for the example the author was using. At the bottom, there is an entry point for the energy, and it could be open or blocked. If it is blocked, no energy will enter that center. If it is open, the energy will come up into the center and attempt to flow right through. Should the upper pathway be blocked, however, the energy will flow out horizontally and connect with whatever stimulated the opening experience. Now, as human beings, we really like that experience of energy flowing out through the heart. In fact, we don't call it like, we call it love. That experience is human love. And don't worry, spirituality has no intention of taking this away from you. It's beautiful. Just know that there is a higher expression of love. This leads us to the third thing that can happen when the energy rises up toward the heart. It can make it all the way through. At this point in our journey, all you have to understand is if the energy makes it past the fourth center, there are energy experiences way higher than human love. This doesn't mean you don't experience connection with people and things. You actually connect at a much deeper level. People who say the human connection experience is the meaning of life have not experienced the higher centers. That's like saying food is the meaning of life or intimacy is the meaning of life. Yes, these are beautiful experiences, but they are conditional and they can come and go. The meaning of life is much deeper than that. There are much higher energy centers you are capable of experiencing, and the further you go into these centers, the more beautiful all of life becomes. But if you can't work with the heart center, you will never know the higher centers even exist. To begin to work with the heart, you must first be able to objectively watch as it opens and closes. What you will see is that the stored patterns from your past are getting activated by outside situations and causing the heart to open or close. Take our example of love at first sight. If you had met the same person 3 days earlier when you were in a bad mood, your heart might not have opened. If you hadn't seen the movie with the actress she reminded you of, she might not have hit you just right. The bottom line is that you have blockages stored inside, and they are going to determine your level of openness in any given situation. All it takes is one word said in just the right way, and the heart will open. Likewise, all it takes is one word said in just the wrong way, and the heart will close. We all have different samskaras, and we are taking on new ones all the time. That is why what turns one person on turns another person off. It is also why the heart behaves differently for the same person at different times. It's hard to believe that our moods, attractions, and repulsions are so dependent on our past, but it's true. In our normal state, we're not paying any attention to what's going on. We're just being tossed around by it. And the last chapter in part 5, the secrets of the heart. We are now ready to go deeper into the secrets of the heart. From our earlier explorations, you recognize that the energy can flow out for a while and create the sensation of love. You also understand that since the opening of the heart is conditional upon the state of the blockages, the energy flow itself is conditional and generally will not last. Yet it is possible to experience great love all the time. All it requires is a willingness to work on yourself to remove the reason your heart tends to close. For example, imagine somebody dies who means a great deal to you. Your spouse can't go to the funeral with you because of some important work. You may deeply resent that. In fact, if you're not careful, you may resent that for the rest of your life. You're playing with fire when you play with these blockages. You may lay the groundwork that will eventually diminish or even destroy your relationship with your significant other. This is not a game. Storing samskaras is serious business, and it has serious consequences. If you want love to last, learn to handle these situations better. This is a secret of the heart that is best to remember. Another very important thing to understand about the outward flow of energy through the heart is that it literally makes a connection with the other person. This connection is real, and you become attached as the energy is exchanged between you. This is not a physical attachment to one another. This is a reliance on the energy flowing between your hearts that is feeding you both energetically. Let's look at this in detail. Your heart was closed because stored patterns from your past were blocking the energy flow. Someone shows up whose qualities and characteristics hit you just right, so the energy fields a path around one of your major blockages. The blockage is not gone, but a pathway has opened up, allowing the energy to flow out through the heart. That energy goes out toward the other person, and the other person's energy goes out toward you. With the help of another person, you have managed to experience what you would be experiencing if the original blockage was not there. Perhaps you used to think people didn't like you and that you were not very attractive. Someone shows up who always admires you and looks at you with tremendous love. It makes you feel so comfortable that you melt in their gaze. It's unbelievable. You don't feel that weirdness you used to feel all the time. Though this is really beautiful, unfortunately, the samskara that was blocking your energy flow is still there. The energy found a way around it, but only as long as the energy exchange with this person is still working. It's like putting a jumper in an electrical circuit. You bypassed the samskara, but now you are very attached to and dependent on that person. If they start to leave you, or if you even think about losing them, you will feel that original samskara again in all its glory. You will feel the underlying fear and weirdness you used to feel, and it may even be stronger than before. In other words, you've tied your energy flow to somebody else, and the state of your heart is now dependent upon their behavior. Surely you've noticed this pattern numerous times in your life. This is called human love. It is very beautiful, but fortunately, there is a much higher form of love that is unconditional and can last forever. The greatest secret of the heart is revealed when you get rid of the samskaras instead of finding a way around them. If you get rid of the blockages that are restricting the energy from flowing into and through your heart, you will feel love all the time. It will always be brimming through you. Once you reach that state, if you simply wave your hand in front of your heart, you will feel waves of ecstatic love pour through you. That's how easy it will be to experience love. Love will become the core of your being. Now go share it. By all means, share the beautiful love you are feeling. You will be able to do this without attachment or need because your love is not dependent upon anyone or anything else. You are whole and complete within yourself. We call that self-effulgence. To reach this great state, you must do the necessary work on yourself to release your samskaras, instead of constantly trying to find a way around them. You now understand much more about the inner workings of the heart. Thus far, we focused on how the energy can flow through the lower part of the heart or be blocked from doing so. We can call this lower part of the heart the human heart, because depending upon how open it is, the energy flow can create the entire range of human emotions. Energy blocked in the lower part of the heart can be experienced as feelings of jealousy, insecurity, or pangs of yearning. Even anger is the result of a strong energy flow hitting blockages in the heart and shooting out. On the other hand, if the heart is open enough for the energy to make it to the middle of the heart chakra, where it can flow out horizontally, the energy will be experienced as human love. It's all the same energy doing this. The only difference is how it's blocked. There is another level of the heart that can be experienced when the upward energy flow is strong enough to pass through the middle of the heart without going out horizontally. The samskaras have to be thinned out enough, and the flow must be strong enough to pierce the middle section of the heart chakra. When this happens, the energy pours into the higher part of the heart and generates a permanent experience of pure love, strength, and overall well-being. Now we've moved out of the human heart and into what is truly the spiritual heart. When the Shakti flows through that higher part of the fourth chakra, you will start to feel what has been described as the presence of God. This is what the great saints experienced. At this point, you no longer experience yourself as human. You experience yourself as a being of energy. You will start to feel love as a natural force in the universe. It is no longer love for somebody. It is just the force of love feeding you from inside. Once you open your heart to that level, it will always be beautiful inside, as long as you choose to focus your awareness on the love instead of what is left in your lower self. We now know what it means to open your heart. At every level, it means to stop closing it. Your heart's natural state is open. It's just like the water in a stream. Its natural state is flow freely. If something's blocking the stream, don't waste your time trying to make the water flow around the blockage. Just remove it. The same is true of the flow of Shakti through the heart. Just remove the blockages and love will be your natural state. Removing blockages is spiritual purification. This is what life is all about. As you remove your blockages, the energy will start to flow freely, and love will no longer be something you need or something you look for. At this stage, love has nothing to do with another person or what job you happen to be doing. You feel love and inspiration all the time. You find that the natural state of your being is to love everything you do and everyone you see. You actually have to hold yourself back to contain your passion for life, because there is such a powerful flow of energy feeding you from within. This is the state Christ was describing when he said, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." Matthew 4, verses 4. You no longer live solely off what is coming in from outside. Your energy is coming from within, effortlessly from its source. Your heart is one of the most beautiful things in creation. In time, if you work on yourself, you will come to appreciate what you've been given. Not only can your heart feed you with unconditional love, but it is the gateway to the higher centers. That completes part 5, and the next section we'll be working on, part 6. We're going to be talking about the human predicament and beyond. So partially what the book is named for, Beyond the Human Predicament. So we're going to stop right there, and in the next video we're going to start reading the next part, which I think is part number 6. Let me just double check. Yeah, so that will be number 6. So we just have 3 sections left. So we'll stop right there and we'll pick up on the next section, the next part in our next video. And until next time, thank you so much for joining me, so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment if you have not already. And I will see you again very soon. Take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye.